You're watching Conceptual Change Techniques with the host, D.A. Williams. The Conceptual Change Techniques embrace a number of philosophical, spiritual, and psychological insights explained in a way that enables anyone to apply them and experience the change they desire in their life. At the end of the broadcast, we'll provide our contact information so that you can receive additional information that will assist you in creating the life that you desire. But right now, let's join DA and explore conceptual change. Well, thanks for tuning in to the broadcast today. My name's D.A. Williams, and I am so happy to be able to come and to share with you some insights of something that I have put together called Conceptual Change Techniques. Now, over the broadcast series, I'm going to be sharing a number of different ideas with you. I'm going to be sharing some strategies for success. A lot of what we're going to be looking at, however, is a method of being able to change and to transform the way that we think. You know, for right around 30 years now, I have been a student of change. I've been a student of transformation, and I have come across a number of different types of systems that all promise and all guarantee that you are very simply going to be able to apply these things, and over a couple of weeks you're going to experience tremendous change in your life. But what I have found is that change takes consistency. Now let me say that again. Change takes consistency. It would be good to be able to, I don't know, take a magic pill, drink a magic potion, and all of a sudden, poof, all of our problems have gone away. But I have discovered, not just me personally, but from talking to a number of individuals who, like myself, are interested in coming into a way of becoming the very best that they can be. And a lot of the things that they share, one of the key things that they shared actually is the thing that change takes time. Nothing changes overnight. Now, that may seem to be a little contradictory, because I do at the same time believe that we are always changing. I do believe that we are always changing. But when it comes to actually managing change and being on the cause side of change, things become very interesting. And it takes commitment. It takes dedication. It takes a willingness to embrace all that you currently are in order to reach the destination of where you want to be. That's what the conceptual change techniques are all about. Now, someone may be asking, when you say conceptual change, what exactly are you talking about? You know, is this another theory? Is it another religious system? Is it another philosophy? No and yes. It embraces all of those things. But when I talk about conceptual change, let me read it for you. It may be a little easier for me to read it, and then we'll go into a little bit more of what we're talking about. Conceptual change is generally defined as learning that changes an existing conception, that is, a belief, an idea, or a way of thinking. Now, this shift or restructuring of existing knowledge and beliefs is what distinguishes conceptual change from other types of learning. Now, it's interesting because many people are aware. You know, let's just think about the day and the time that we live in. We live in an age where knowledge has increased exponentially. We are bombarded with knowledge. You know, whether we're talking the internet, whether we're talking cable television, no matter what we are talking about, we have access to more knowledge than any other generation that has ever lived. And although we have access to all of that knowledge, it doesn't seem like we have much wisdom. We lack the ability to apply that knowledge in a way that enhances both ourselves and those around us. It lacks the ability to actually engage in the world and make the world a better place. We're still facing issues of racism, sexism, you name it, we're facing it in our day. Now, our day is no different than any other age that we lived in. All ages have been plagued with these challenges. But you would think with the advancement in knowledge that we actually claim to have, we in this generation would be making strides to making the world a much more peaceful, a much more compatible place where all people, regardless of their backgrounds, regardless of their nationalities, regardless of their sexual identity, their gender identity, the world seems to lack the ability. And when I say the world, I'm talking about the people that live in the world. We seem to lack the ability to appreciate the uniqueness that exists within one another. And a lot of it has to do with our beliefs, our ideas, and our ways of thinking. Now, let me go on, because learning for conceptual change is not merely accumulating new facts or learning a new skill. In conceptual change, an existing conception is fundamentally changed or even replaced and becomes the conceptual framework that people use to solve problems, explain phenomena, and function in their world. Now, that may seem like a mouthful, but let me repeat it again. Learning for conceptual change is not merely accumulating new facts or learning a new skill. In conceptual change, an existing conception is fundamentally changed or it's even replaced and becomes the conceptual framework that people use to solve problems, explain phenomena, and function in their world. So what are we talking about? We are actually talking about being able to look at our mental frameworks, deconstruct those frameworks, and build more robust frameworks that serve us and serve the world better. Sounds simple, but we're talking about challenging, actually, our existing way of thinking. We're talking about examining those ideas, those beliefs, those ideologies, those theories. A lot of it has to do with looking at those things which we assume and that we just accept as fact because it's something that has been passed down through the years. Leadership is a good thing. Sources of authority are good things. But when we just simply accept sources of authority, or we accept positions of authority, or we accept ideas because it comes from a perceived authority, then we run the risk of ceasing to use our own critical thinking ability. And once we refer to an outside authority as final authority, conversation ceases, discussion ceases, dialogue ceases, because we assume that we have all of the facts, and we assume because we have those facts that those facts become true. I listened to a very interesting conversation the other day. We were talking about, or we were engaged in a discussion around racism. And it was very interesting. It was a conversation between myself, a very good friend of mine, and another individual who I just recently met, but I believe will also become a very good friend of mine. And the discussion was around racism, its systemic nature, and what is perceived as ways that racism could be addressed. And as I listened, I kind of took myself out of the conversation for a particular reason. I took myself out because I wanted to be that objective third party and just listen to the argument and the discussion on both sides. And what I discovered is that in a very real way, both individuals truly believe that what they were saying is true. Now, I'm not saying whether one was true and the other one wasn't true, but to listen to the discussion, it dawned on me that we all have a frame of reference that we view the world through. We all have a lens that we view the world through. And that's not a bad thing. That's just the way that it is. But our experiences, our environment, our relationships, our learnings in life all go into shaping our worldview. And the only way we can view the world is through our own worldview. Now, when you think about that, it would tend to lend to the idea that if that is absolutely true, and since none of us share the same experiences in life, none of us have exactly the same experience in life, if all of us have a different worldview, it would be pretty difficult to solve some of the major problems that we're experiencing in life. Now, I hold the opposite to be true. Because we all have different worldviews, because we all have different experiences, if we could draw off of and embrace the different worldviews of other people, it would actually broaden and enrich our own worldview. It will cause us to look at things from a different perspective. It will cause us to not only think outside of the box, but question the validity of the box itself, and enable us to have dialogue, which in turn would lead us to become creative thinkers, and as a result of that, possibly resolve a lot of the day-to-day problems that we have. But instead, what we see today is we see a polarization taking place where groups of people that share a particular worldview set themselves up as the police of other people. So on the one hand, we may have the neo-Nazis. On the other hand, we might have Black Lives That Matter. On the other hand, we may have Democrats. On the other hand, we may have Republicans. Then we may have independents. And all of these groups share, to one degree or another, a particular worldview. Stay with me. They all share a particular worldview, and so they become tribal. They are tribal in the sense that their whole goal is the survival of their particular tribe, not recognizing that there are other tribes other than themselves that have just as much a right of survival as they do. Now, how do we begin to enter into dialogue and enter into a discussion that's feasible and actually promotes their survival, the happiness, the success of each group? We have to fundamentally begin to examine those core beliefs, the core ideas, the core perceptions that shape our worldviews. Now, I spent quite a bit of time within religious circles. I do hold a master's degree in charismatic theology. I spent a great deal of time working within the context of church, the church world. And I've discovered nothing is any different in the church world. We have Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic, institutional, non-denominational, independent, Word of Faith. We have all of these different groups, and they all claim to share their source of authority from the same book. Yet they've arrived at different conclusions about what that book is saying. And oftentimes what ends up happening is that the other group is demonized. It's no different than what happens in secular society. So this whole idea of worldview and needing to embrace some techniques that help us to examine our beliefs is more critical now than at any other time in history. And so the conceptual change techniques are geared not to say that one belief or one idea or one worldview is better than the other. That's not the purpose of the conceptual change techniques. That's not my agenda, to try to demean and disparage other belief systems. That's not my intent. What my intent is to present some very simplistic techniques that enable us to, first of all, examine our own beliefs, examine our own mental constructs, and then use those same techniques as we are engaging in discussion with other people to deconstruct why it is they believe what they believe. Now, this isn't, again, this is not to bash people's belief, but it is to enrich our dialogue. It's to enrich the way that we interact with one another, and that can be done. Now, if you think about that and you apply that to your daily life, let me ask this question. What type of experience are people having as they encounter you from a day-to-day experience, from day-to-day living? What type of experience do people walk away from you having had? The way that we frame the things that we say, the way that we word what we are trying to say has a tremendous impact, not only upon our lives, but upon the lives of those with whom we're communicating with. So as you go through the day today, I want you to think about the way that you're framing your conversations. Always try to frame it in the positive, so that no matter how bad the situation, how negative the situation may be, there's always a positive. And the way that that can be done is to become brutally honest with ourselves. I mean, we really have to become brutally honest with ourselves and ask, why do I believe what I believe? Why do I respond to people the way that I respond to people? Why am I afraid to learn about people who are different than I am? What is it that makes me feel as though I'm better than someone else, or my group is more valuable than another group? What are these internal mechanisms that's driving these things on the inside? Those are the things that we're going to be examining in this broadcast. Now, it may be challenging. It may be. This may be something that you are really not up for. You may find this to be just totally out there, and that's okay. But for those of you who are truly interested in experiencing some change, experiencing some transformation, getting those breakthroughs in life that have been promised to you over and over and over, rekindling some of those childhood dreams, those childhood ambitions. This is what the conceptual change techniques are all about. So let me, in the last minutes of this broadcast, share a couple of those that we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at some tools that involve visualization. We're going to be looking at some tools that involve some aspects of neurolinguistic programming, that is understanding how our language and our nervous system interact one with another. We're going to be examining some philosophical concepts of the self. All of these things go into the techniques that we're going to be exploring here on the broadcast. So I want to encourage you to tune in each week. One of the things that you will find is that these broadcasts are going to build upon each other. Now, if for some reason you happen to miss a broadcast or two, don't worry. At the end of the broadcast, I'm going to give you our contact information, and I want to invite you to join with us. Contact us. Request our manual. We have a conceptual change manual that we've put together that embraces some of these ideas and really breaks them down into bite-sized nuggets to give you some things that you can do day by day today and to see that change come about that you so desire in your life. Well, I want to encourage you once again to contact us. We're going to give you our contact information in just a moment. But most of all, again, I want to thank you for tuning into the broadcast today. And I want to challenge you to remember the time that this show comes on and make it a point to spend that time with us here on the Conceptual Change Techniques. I'm looking forward to sharing with you. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'm looking forward to entering into conversation, entering into dialogue with you. You know, if there are some things that you would like to have explored on the broadcast, feel free to contact us. If there are some things that you know that you would like to talk to me about personally, I also do life coaching. If there are some things that you'd like to talk about, if you're going through some struggles and you say, DA, you know, I really need some one-on-one, I want to talk to you. And this is free and no charge for our viewers. So, you know, you're not going to contact me and then I'm going to send you a large bill for my services. This is my gift to you for investing the time in watching the broadcast and for reaching out. I'll be more than happy to set up some time when we can talk. Well, again, thanks for tuning in to the broadcast this week. We'll look forward to sharing with you next week. Same time, same place, same channel. Here's our contact information. Stay inspired. We trust you enjoyed the broadcast today and are committed to experiencing your desired change. Additionally, we look forward to connecting with you on one or more of our social media sites. You can connect online on Facebook, our website at transformedmind.com, Twitter, YouTube, or you can listen to 24 hours of streaming radio on wdkkradio.com. Once again, thank you for spending this time with us and for seeking to reach your highest potential. Don't forget to connect online and be sure to tune in next week at this same time. Until then, continue to create your compelling future by challenging yourself today. Most of all, stay inspired. Well, hello everyone, this is D.A. Williams, and I'm glad to be able to come to you again on the webcast. You know, I made mention a little earlier that I am in the process of teaching some material on framing or reframing conversations. A lot of it deals with customer service, but you know, as I began to teach it and as I began to go through the material, I thought about the practical applications of what it means to be able to reframe communication. As many of you know, I really enjoy talking about communication, and one of the things that I was bringing out to the classes that I've been sharing this with is it's amazing how words that we use or the way that we frame things impacts the emotional life of the people that we listen to. One of the examples that was used, and I thought it was very interesting, was they talked about if a person goes to Disneyland. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Disneyland or not. I haven't had the opportunity to go to Disney World yet, but it's on my bucket list. But what they talked about in some of the material that I was researching in order to do the teaching was the fact that you could go up to one of the cast members at Disney World and you could ask them the question, and the question would be, well, what time does the park close tonight? And they made mention that one of the cast members may say the park closes at 9 p.m. Another one of the cast members would say the park will remain open until 9 p.m. tonight. The magic will continue right up until 9 p.m. tonight and will reopen tomorrow morning for some more magic here at Disney World. Now, as I thought about it, and I kind of made the joke that as far as Disney World is concerned, every person that works there is a cast member. Well, in reality, even the hot dog vendors and the people that sell in the gift stores, all of them are considered to be cast members, and it's actually a very wise thing that they do at Disney World, because they frame the whole Disney World experience in terms of course, the Disney productions. So no matter what your position, from the janitor to one of the CEOs, everyone is a cast member. And what that does for the people that are visiting Disney World, it puts them into the actual magic that's trying to be created through the Disney World experience. Now, if you think about that and you apply that to your daily life, let me ask this question. What type of experience are people having as they encounter you from a day-to-day experience, from day-to-day living? What type of experience do people walk away from you having had? The way that we frame the things that we say, the way that we word what we are trying to say has a tremendous impact, not only upon our lives, but upon the lives of those with whom we're communicating with. So as you go through the day today, I want you to think about the way that you're framing your conversations. Always try to frame it in the positive, so that no matter how bad the situation, how negative the situation may be, there's always a positive. I shared with the class that it's virtually impossible to have a negative without there being a positive. There has to be a positive if there is a negative. So look for ways to find the positive. Look for ways to frame everything that you say to everybody in a way that they walk away seeing the best in the situation. And by doing that, people will have a very positive experience and can actually enjoy their conversations with you that much more. I just wanted to share these few words of thought, and remember, you have more potential than you are aware of. And through these webcasts, it is my hope, it is my desire to enable you and to assist you in achieving life's best. Have a great day.